Okay, next movie, Interstellar. What can be said very quickly? Interstellar, it's okay.
Nakajima さんは今何をおっしゃいと言いますか？あなた遅いです。
Interstellar is very well written. I'll give it that. What was interesting was that there's a man of physics who helped create this movie with the director, but yet there's some very strategic mistakes in here that just don't fit. For example, the reason why the earth is dying is because the crops can't survive this plague of some type of fungus or spore was getting on the leaves and killing off all the crops. So, but this blight that was killing off the crops required nitrogen from the air, from oxygen around the earth. It sucked in huge amounts of nitrogen, and according to this movie, it meant that we were running out of air. Does that make sense? So Interstellar has got some great scenes in here. If you should, like the scene with planet Saturn, that works really well. The wave scene does not work. Like they land on this planet that has this huge wave. It's like a water planet. The trough between the waves leaves about maybe half a meter of water on the surface of the ocean that you can actually walk on, but the wave is about a mile high. Didn't make any sense. I don't know any laws of physics that would ever support something like that, but it was there in the movie, and so I think that the physics part of it, even though they hired a physics scientist to help them make this movie, they left out some of the, they delved into the unreal, they delved into something that just doesn't support anything. Complete fantasy. So what this movie is about is the earth is dying, and this guy who's a really great pilot, he's asked to fly this ship into a next universe through a wormhole that they discovered, and find other planets for people to live on, because the earth was, that was it. They were in their last generation to survive the heating up of the planet, and well, I guess that wasn't so much of a problem as the blight that was destroying all the crops. They wouldn't have anything to eat. The only thing left to eat was corn, which was slowly dying off as well. I didn't like the heat in this and the desert-like conditions. I really hate that. I hate looking at it. That part was a major turn-off in this film. But apparently they changed education around to try to drive people from technology and space travel and everything, and grew an entire generation of young people just to produce food. That's all they were supposed to do. That became the driving situation in schools across the planet. Teach the young people how to produce food. Forget about the other sciences. They don't exist, in other words. So that's why they had to hire the old pilots, who were since retired, to fly these ships, because there weren't any new pilots. They had to hire the old mechanics, because there weren't any new mechanics. They just weren't training anybody anymore. They were concentrating on food to try and survive. So he agrees to take the job again. He becomes a pilot. He joins the crew. They enter the wormhole and they're off. and it's a spectacular scene. If you're into special effects, this looks really great. And the first planet they land on, they're trying to catch up with as it turns out, other astronauts had gone on before them but never came back. And they're trying to find all these different planets where these guys had landed in a grouping area, and find out why they never came back, although they sent signals that this planet was inhabitable, this wasn't, this planet was habitable, this was uninhabitable, that sort of situation. So they were landing on these planets to talk to these guys, but they ran out of fuel and they had to make some really iffy decisions on which planets to land on, which ones not to land on. And one of the previous astronauts who had landed on one of these planets, he was suicidal, so he told them, yeah, land here, you could grow anything you want here. It was an ice planet they landed on, and he tried to kill them off. He figured, well, the extinction is going to happen anyway, so I want to kill you guys off, and he's completely gone in the head. That's where another mistake comes in. They begin fighting. There's this big fight that breaks out between Matthew McConaughey's character and this other guy. They roll down this cliff, and then the next scene, the cliff's not there anymore. You don't see it anywhere. And in fact, they're in the middle of a field all of a sudden. They just rolled down, and suddenly they're in the middle of a field that they get up and start fighting again. That threw me off. It was a directorial mistake. Nolan does a good job directing this movie, but he makes some really, really big mistakes. There's more hype on Nolan's ability to do this film than he actually deserved to have. He just isn't that great. I mean, he directed a good movie, mind you, but it is not like the hype that he's been shown. It just doesn't match it at all. He's made some really bad mistakes. But it is a good film. He did a decent job, but not a great job. In the end, we get this 2001 Space Odyssey type situation, where McConaughey's character goes into a black hole with this robotic machine. And he finds that he's suddenly back at his house in the bedroom, this is actually, I know this is going to be hard to believe, but this is actually a plausible situation. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how to sum it up in just a few words. But he ended up back in the past, trying to show his daughter the key to finding the black holes, or finding the wormholes that would lead them to the right planet, and trying to contact her, because time, like one day for them, I think it was 1 hour for them, 7 years back on Earth. There was that type of time exchange. And his daughter was really, really old at this point, and so he had to go through this black hole matrix type of situation where he had to go back in time and try to knock books on her bedroom floor from her bookshelf to try to get her to clue in that she should follow this certain situation. Eventually he communicates through a watch, sending her coded messages like Morse code type of thing to try and show her the location of certain things, or certain locations of where she should be. I think this is a great looking movie. You enjoy it. I think it's way too long for 3 hours. They could easily have done this in 2 hours. But yeah, it's a good adventure film. If you're into science fiction, you won't be disappointed. I think you'll like it.